Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening of Monday, and we're at the 24th of March, 2025. All right, my friends, lots going on. Who knows what's going to happen with these tariffs? Every day is something different in them. So now what we've got is the president saying that he's not going sector specific. So maybe not autos for everybody at 25% tariffs, maybe a different number for each country. Lumber, don't know if he's going into that sector or not against Canada. He is going with the tariffs. They may not be as broad as he had thought. A lot of countries have come, and they're still coming to the U.S. They're still meeting with Lutnick and the other teams at the White House, trying to make their proposals as to what they'll do to avoid these sweeping tariffs on what Trump has called Liberation Day, which is April 2nd. All right? So you've got to pay attention. Is he using tariffs as a weapon still? Oh, yeah. Is he letting go of it? Yes. It's not as bad for most, but it's terrible for some. Today, he looked at Venezuela and hit him with everything he could. 25% tariff on anyone that buys Venezuelan oil for any products they sell in America. Did you hear what I just said? If you buy Venezuelan oil and you sell anything in America, you're getting a 25% tariff on those goods. That pretty well tells people, hey, if you want to deal with the U.S. and our market for commerce, you better stay away from Venezuelan oil. So unlike what we thought was happening, I thought he was getting an appeasement and getting along with Maduro and had given up the idea that he could sway that person and that government into anything. He's attacked them. This is typical Donald Trump. He says one thing, leads you down a road, and then changes it. That is what he likes to do. It is the art of negotiation. It is how he handles his foes, and get used to it. I mean, read his books. You'll get a feel for it. The stock market up today. Why? Because as a whole, forget Venezuela, as a whole, there's moderation to what the president is saying. So the market feels better. Don't fall into the trap of thinking it's going to last. There's no way to know. Charts are based on things and what you think people have an idea of. Do you honestly think people have an idea of what they know is going to happen on Liberation Day? If you do, you're better than probably 60% of the public out there. I think there's just lots of confusion out there. I am one that is confused too. When we look at the data coming out, we had PMIs come out today, and I was looking at Starbucks just now. And I'll show you why in a moment there. I was looking at Market Watch for the pricing. Redbook Group, they're going to update their weekly retail sales data tomorrow. We're going to get the Conference Board. They're going to come out with U.S. consumer confidence at 9 o'clock. We'll see how these tariffs have played with people. The Richmond Fed's going to come out with their monthly manufacturing sector index, and that's going to be at 9. And we're going to get new residential sales, home sales, at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they're looking for about 679. Now, that is a rough time in the marketplace. So let's, if we could, go back to the chart action and see what we've got. Copper was up a little, metals down. What do I think there? I think that what you're getting in the metals is gold is trying to say, buy the rumor, sell the tariff news. People are starting to move into the sell news. That's what I think is going on right now, and there could be more of that ahead. When you look at uranium, it's held the $24 range, and it's just holding in here. The airlines up 535. That's a pretty good number. Boeing up, as you know, they got the new airplane. It's going to be years before they get any money from this, but they got the new airplane order for the, F-47, so their stock keeps moving up here. I continue to think that's a $200 stock plus. Netflix jumped again, and I feel like I've missed out on that. And I want the next buy signal in Amazon. I already know that I'll be looking at with my subscribers at that. We're not into that yet. A nice bounce back in NVDA today. And look at Tesla, roaring to the upside. But I'm still not a fan at 80 times earnings in cars that aren't selling that well. So I've got my own little problem with that. When we look at Coinbase, and that's what we started looking at over the weekend, keep in the back of your mind that one of the best things you could do is look at some of these like IBIT and Coinbase and others and watch what the NASDAQ does and see if they react with it. IBIT does a pretty good job of that. Here, it looks to me like you have formed the bottom. You'd have to take out these lows for me to think that you have something different going and the market wants to head down again. But this looks to me, from a market technician point of view, you've now got pattern of higher lows, higher highs, bullish. The market closed over the 18-day average of closes. The bias is up. So take out these lows, and I'm wrong, but I think your pro-buying is taking place. Where could the market go? Well, probably the upper Bollinger Band is the closest objective. It could battle here for a while at the 18-day average. And as I said, I'm wrong if you take out those lows. So the game plan is laid and momentum is just turned up with the market. When we look at Brothers, the reason I was looking at Starbucks is Brothers is throwing out another configuration that I view as bullish. You've got the pattern of higher lows, higher highs, the support right here. You're not in overbought territory. You can extend the rally. I think the pros are buying the market, and I think they're wrong if you take out the lows of Friday. So that's what I think they're looking at. I don't know if you should do it or not. That's up to you. When we look at CrowdStrike, I don't see a trend. I told you that I saw a market coming down on Thursday into the support zone of the 100-day average in green and the 18. The 200's down here. And I still see that. It has not given a signal of anything other than it's keeping the bias up, but it hasn't put together higher lows, higher highs just yet. Oh, and by the way, if you take a look at it, I think we can come back to it right here. You have a market that if it decided to run, you've already got an overbought condition. I don't know what piece of news would make that happen. In STNG, I see nothing. I see a market that's got an upper Bollinger Band pulling back and a lower low, higher high price. I just don't see a thing in that. Alibaba acting bearish. What? Bearish. You take out the lows of Friday, and you're going to end up with lower highs, lower lows, and you could easily get into the 128.64 level, about $5.5, $6 lower. Momentum down, that would give you trend down. Bias is already down. Trend is not yet down. That you need to do. Now, what would throw that out is obviously closing back over the 18-day average of closes, but you haven't done that yet. In Hood, I don't know enough today as to what happened. I heard that there was already certain states going after Robinhood for taking wagers on the March Madness. I don't know any more than that, so I'm not going to comment on it other than that's what I heard. Higher lows, higher highs, support right here, but you're already in overbought territory with the nearly a 74 reading in the slow stochastic. Anything over 70s overbought. XOM, I still like on the long side. It is embedding. Both numbers were over 80 today. Both numbers on Friday were over 80. And both numbers on Thursday were over 80. And both numbers were over 80 even on Wednesday. So as I view the market, the first reasonable break probably down to the 200 to 100-day average. So 115. That would be 114.15 to the 112.22 zone. That zone should be, I think, an area where the market's going to try to see if it can hold. What will be bad is you'll break the uptrend on the swing line, but as long as you keep the embedded reading, that's stronger than the swing line. In XLF, the financial services uptrend, finally closed over everything. So unless you take out Friday's low, the uptrend can continue a bit. Just keep in the back of your mind, when you open in the morning, you're going to be in overbought territory unless you drop sharply right off the bat. You got a 69.26 level and you close near the day's high. The math is going to make the market get over 70. XLI, void of a trend. Battleground, pretty easy to see. It's the 200 and the 18-day average. At first it was resistance, then on the break it had no follow through. It popped back over, but I don't see anything to do with that type of setup. Energy is still working on embedding. It's about to happen if it can stay like this. Look at all these moving averages that move together. So that's pretty impressive. And if the 18-day average in red can get over those averages, it's another bullish force at work. Obviously, today, hearing news on Venezuela affected the whole energy market. In GLD, I'd be very cautious here. You have an 81 reading that probably drops under 79 if the markets are lower in gold tomorrow morning in the futures. They are down right now, minor, but they lost their embedded reading. And as you know, I came out over the weekend on the weekly chart saying, be careful of the buy the rumor, sell the fact, and the fact. In addition, that it appears that the tariffs may not come out as bad as we first thought. That might take some of this bullishness away from the gold for a correction. I didn't say the bull run is over. I said a correction. Until we know more, how do you predict that gold is topped or isn't going higher? I don't see how you can. In SLV, no surprise that we've broke back to the support at the 18-day average and momentum's been lost. That market's down. And in the copper market, you're all over the board. But because copper is on that list of metals to get additional sanctions, it stays with a better bid. So if you were to ask me right now, copper has been the strongest. And you can see that right here, how it's acting. Until it loses the embedded reading, it's in a good place. The other markets that I like, and I know you know that I look at them, are interest rates. Well, the interest rates today gained yield back, and that's because the service sector in the U.S. was so strong. The dollar rallied up to the 18-day average, which probably means the euro fell, and that's exactly what happened. You might be going down in the euro back into these moving averages to hold on. You've lost your bullish wave for the moment in the euro, and you've regained a momentum in the dollar, but it hasn't entered uptrend status. It's more of a bear market correction at this point. I talk about all these things in my research. And as you know, I'm putting out, and there we go again. That's when I was looking at Starbucks. I was truly looking to say, should I replace Dutch Brothers with that? And I decided, no, Dutch Brothers is a better looking chart, in my opinion. In IraEpstein.com, if you go and you look at the top left, I have a gasoline report. I also cover the gasoline ETF in it. I talk about the 5, the 10, the 15-year, the switchover that happens right now into April is the refinery switchover to summer blends, what traditionally happens in the market, why it happens. So if you're interested, I can't tell you that I'm going to be right or wrong in the report, but I can tell you I give it my darn shot. Just go to IraEpstein.com, the energy report. It goes off our website tomorrow. I can't tell you what hour, but it goes off tomorrow, so you won't hear me talk about it after right now. I'm Ira. You take care.